Hello. Welcome to Brushing Teeth with Robert, the May 13th Wednesday podcast. This is the recorded Wednesday podcast. We made it to midweek. Congratulations. Congratulations to us. Hello, you made it. I made it. High five. Good for us. So, welcome to Wednesday. Welcome to almost middle May. Almost mid-May, so good for us. Song, isn't it? It is. Now you may think you can walk on that wild, wild side of me. But there's a lot I can learn and a lot I've yet to see. No, you've got my life lying in your hands. It's up to you to make me understand. So if you think you know how to love me, and you think you know what I need, and if you really, really want me to stay, you got to lead the way. If you think you know how to Welcome. And you think you made it. You made it, I made it. Brushing Teeth with Robert. So, congratulations to all of us. We all did it. We all made it. So, good for us. Good for you, good for me. You like this, how I'm doing all the production stuff while I'm fiddling around. So, good for us. All right, so, we made it. We made it to midweek, as we should have. You know, there's no reason why we shouldn't have. As I stare out the window. It's gorgeous outside here in Oak Cliff, Texas, in South Dallas. So welcome. Welcome to Brushing Teeth with Robert. The 12 people of y'all who watch this. So listen, if you like what I'm doing, some of y'all do, please feel free, subscribe, get the alerts. It'll tell you when I'm on. Of course, Wednesday is the recorded podcast. Saturday is the one I do live. It's actually a little bit more fun because maybe somebody will call in, who knows, or maybe I'll say the wrong thing, which I'm sure I will. But we made it. We made it this far, and good for us. It is Wednesday, May 13th, and so far so good. Things seem to be progressing quickly. Very, very quickly. More cars on the road, more people out and about. It's weird. You can't say it's not weird, because I know it's weird. It's weird. Especially after these many months of not seeing people out on the road or not being around people. Not going to work. I know some of y'all are going back to work, and that is, you have to admit, it's weird. It's weird. But who knows? Who knows what to think of it? I don't know. You don't know. All we can do is just trudge forward as we do every day. And thank you for being here. Thank you for listening to me ramble for about 30 or 40 minutes, depending on what I decide to talk about. And this is we're just gonna jump right, like directly into it. I've been thinking. I don't know why I've been thinking about this so much lately, but I have been thinking about women's fashion. I've been mostly, of course, I never think on the positive side of it. I normally think on the negative side of it, and I've been thinking a lot about the don'ts. About the don'ts of what I feel. Nobody else may feel this, but I definitely feel this about women's fashion. I don't wear women's fashion. I mean, not even in private. I'm not that kind of guy. But I think I'm a fairly fashionable person. So every once in a while, I think about things like this. I think about the trend and what people are wearing. One of the things that I think is almost universally agreed upon, yet people still do it, women still do it, which is high-waisted anything. Why does everybody hate it, yet it's still done? I don't get it. I don't understand it. It makes you look like you have a super flat ass, which I would think, listen, you are dressing for yourself. You're not dressing for me. You're not dressing for any other man out there. Or so we all say, all right? But to me, it seems ridiculous. It does not give a good shape to anybody. The high-waisted anything doesn't give a good shape to anybody. Not shorts, not pants. It never looks good. And pretty much people universally agree on this. I hear it all the time. I'm not the only one. I'm really not. We're going to get this a little closer, even though I think I'm loud. I don't get it. I don't get it. I wear a fairly low-rise jean as a male. Ugh. But again, I'm a guy. You know, I also try to wear jeans that show my ass. I really do. I like that. That makes me happy. Don't have much of one, but what I do have, I want people to see. I want people to notice. And it just does not make sense. It gives almost like a unibody look. Does that make sense? Like it almost just it doesn't allow for a curve on anybody. And I've always liked low rise. I see no reason why women can't wear low rise. I mean, low rise is fantastic. It looks great on women also. So I just don't get it. I don't get why people wear things that make them look bad. I don't get it. I'll give you an example. I'll give you a very good example. So there's a photographer in New York. I don't even know if he's a photographer anymore because a bunch of he got basically hit with a lot of sexual harassment accusations. And his name is, I believe, Terry Anderson. Terry Richardson. Terry Richardson. Fairly famous. I think his father was a famous photographer also. And he did these really awesome he did these really awesome raw photographs. Not much of a background. Generally, it's like American flag or something like that behind him. It's a little hot in here, so it wasn't much of a background. I think one of the big things he became super known by from people who didn't know him was pictures he did of Miley Cyrus. And I think he may have directed the Cannonball Visit. Is that the name of that song? I came like a can. Yeah. And he wore these big glasses. He wore like these big 70s thin-framed glasses that almost looked like... Why does anybody want to look like a molester? I don't get it. As I get older, I do my best to not look like a molester. It's inherent as you get older. As a man, when you get older, it's just going to happen. You're going to look like a molester as you age. It doesn't matter, especially if you like women, because you're going to look at them or leer at them or whatever. So regardless, I'm going to look like somewhat of a molester. I'm not, but you're going to. Why would you do more to make yourself look like more of a molester? Though, and especially over the last like 5 years, women are wearing those big, thin framed glasses. I don't get it. And they're like sometimes they're yellow tint or like a blue tint to them. Sometimes they're just clear. And it makes no sense. It makes no sense. Stop trying to look like a older male suburban molester. It does nothing to enhance your look. You don't look any more indie wearing them. You don't. You can look like you work in a record shop without wearing those glasses, or you work in like a vintage store or in social media or whatever. It's so dumb. It's dumb. Do not wear those. Please do not wear those. And I think they were kind of a throwback to the 70s. That's what they were trying to be, is almost like I think even the high-waisted stuff was trying to be this weird throwback to the 70s. And that's the weirdest part, because that brings me to my third point. You know, I always have three. Because comedy comes in threes, even though this isn't very funny. 70s anything. Like 70s anything, honestly. 70s anything. I don't like. Fluorescents are horrible. They're horrible. Fluorescents or swirls, like fluorescent swirls, they're the worst. There's no reason. It does not make sense. The disco era sucked for a reason. It really did. It sucked for a reason. And it sucked because we had no taste. That's what happened. It sucked because we had no taste. And the clothing was a prime example. Now, I will go ahead and say, at one point, I was a butterfly collar wearer. Now, not just when I was a kid, because when I was a kid, of course, I grew up in that era. But there was a resurgence of it in the early 2000s, I want to say, where I would wear, around swingers time. There were people who did the swingers thing, who did like the Frank Sinatra or like Vince Vaughn and Jon Favreau kind of like thing, where they were trying to bring back the Rat Pack era. And then there are also people in that same time frame that did like a 70s thing. I did a lot of Hawaiian shirts. I did some butterfly collars, Western butterfly collars even. You would be hard pressed to find a picture of it. Just letting you know that right now. But it didn't look good then. It didn't look good when we tried to bring it back. It doesn't look good now when we're trying to bring it back. So just stop. Just stop. 70s anything. Just throw it out. Just stop. Just put it away. All right? It's the worst. It makes zero sense. So those are my fashion tips. Take them or leave them. Honest truth is, I have a feeling most of y'all are going to leave them. But I don't even think I know a lot of people dressed like that. This is mostly people I just see out and about that I go, why are you doing that? Don't do that. Stop doing that. You know, it's almost like I heard somebody listen to Rick Astley today. Non-ironically, it makes no sense. I don't get it. Why? It's kitschy. It's a kitschy thing that should be played as a meme. Like, that's the only reason I see that it should be played. Same thing with those fashion tips. And then I don't know where my brain went, but at one point my brain went down the rabbit hole of useless Christmas presents. Like useless Christmas presents. Things you came upon like 10 years after you got them as a present and didn't understand why. And I wholeheartedly blame two stores. Those stores are Sharper Image and Brookstone. Which the honest truth is Sharper Image and then Brookstone as a consequence, because Brookstone, as we know, was the Sharper Image kind of ripoff. All right. Book lights. Who has come upon a book light that they use like twice, but when they got it, they basically got it from somebody who knew that they read and read a lot, and they used it like twice. Because book lights make no sense. They don't do any good at all. Nobody reads in a cave, so that starts. That's a thing. Also, you can't see shit with them. You can't see anything with a book light. Like, a book light makes no sense. Like, you really can't read anything. You can't even read the entire page. Remember the ones that like had like an arm, like the really good ones that had like an arm down, and then you had to like keep adjusting it. I think I've probably gotten 3 book lights in my life, and I did not use any of them. If I need to read, I just turn on a light. You know, I'm not gonna read while the room is completely dark. And the honest truth is, if somebody's in the bed with me, I really don't care. I'm either going to turn off the light or I'm going to leave the light on. It does not matter to me. And if I'm going to read, definitely not going to read under a blanket with like a book. Like, it makes, like, why? They never worked well. I would love to know if somebody actually uses a book light. I would love to know that. Now, remember around the time that everybody was giving them as presents, they were, you'd see them in movies or TV shows or things like that, where like the husband was going to sleep or the wife was going to sleep and they're reading a book light. And every time I was like, that doesn't work. It does not work at all. Book lights do not work. Nobody uses book lights. Does not work. Why did we give them as presents? One of the other things doesn't work, and I realized that this week. So I like to collect change from my pockets, and then I let it collect, and then go cash it in. First of all, banks not being able to cash your change or not having a change counter and making you roll it still is bullshit. It's absolute bullshit. I belong to your bank. You take my money. That's the way this works. I should not have to work. I don't have to sit at my table and roll things. You should just take my change. Take my change and put this in my account, or give me cash for it. One or the other. Rolling change is stupid. I belong to one of the largest banks that exists, and they do not take change. They don't, well, they'll take change, but they don't take like change. And one of the things that people used to get a while back were these automatic change counters. It had like a little funnel, and then and it had the different denominations, and you could put like a roll thing in it, and basically you just put the change in it, and the change would drop like pennies, dimes, like they would all drop where they belong. First of all, we used it that day. The only day we used it. Because when we went back to use it, when we finally had change to throw into it, the battery was dead in it, and it didn't work. And it was all dusty and gross. And when we went to change the battery, we opened up the battery case, and the battery had basically calcified inside of the automatic changer. Automatic changers don't work. They never did. Why they gave them away as a present, I don't know. Maybe because they just were trying to sell bullshit. That's all they were trying to do, was sell some bullshit. Automatic changers never worked, and they may have worked. Here's the deal. They may have worked, but they didn't work when we needed them to work. It was useless. Brookstone and Sharper Image, they fucked us. They absolutely fucked us on that. It was ridiculous. But kudos to them for selling us absolute bullshit. I wonder if anybody still owns a Sharper Image massage chair. I wonder if that's still a thing that exists. If somebody in their house, like somewhere in Arkansas in like a trailer home, still has like the big Sharper Image chair that they like, maybe somebody else bought and they picked up at a garage sale or something. Because that I'd like to know, because the honest truth is the only reason why those two stores existed was for us to go, oh, I'm going to go sit in the massage chair as soon as that little fucking stupid kid gets out of the goddamn way, because he doesn't have back problems. The hell's he sitting in there playing in that thing for? And why aren't the employees getting him out of it? So I can sit in it as like an adult who has back problems. And why do I have back problems? Because I work and pay bills. That's why. So sometimes I'll just go up and I'll just stare at the kid. Just stare at him. Until he felt all uncomfortable and like got up. Like ran over to his mom or something. And I'd be like, haha. And I'd sit down in the chair. And then I'd wait until, I didn't want to do it anymore. And I wanted to get some, I don't know, Chick-fil-A. Because that's what you got at the mall. Was Chick-fil-A. Or pizza. One or the other. So kudos to Sharper Image and Brookstone for selling us 2 pieces of absolute bullshit that actually would make our lives easier. If you think about it. If a booklight really worked, it would make your life easier. If a change counter really worked, it would make your life easier. But they never did. They're one of those things where in idea, they work phenomenally. They do. But in actual practice, they're the worst. Absolute worst. Worst 2 stores. Glad they went out of business. Screw you, Sharper Image and Brookstone, for making us buy a bunch of useless stuff. Like, I don't know, like a little sand thing for our desk that like sand trickled down or whatever. I can barely remember. They had so many things packed in those stores. Just a ton of things. I remember I went to one of the last days that Sharper Image was open. And even then, like the stuff that was left was super marked down. I almost bought a ton of it. Like I almost did. I had to talk myself out of it and go, you don't need any of this. Like you have literally 3 corkscrew sets at the house and you only use one, which is the basic one. Like that's the only one you use is the basic one. You don't even use the automatic one. Like you don't even use the one that like takes nitrogen or whatever it is. Like you always use just the basic one that you have to pull out because it's the easiest. And it's the smallest one to find. You don't have to worry about sticking your hand in the drawer and stabbing yourself with something. Wow, I went on a rant about Brookstone and Sharper Image. Sorry, but it's true. They were useless stores and they fooled us. They really did. They fooled us. They truly, truly did. But good for them. Good for them because they made money off it. I wonder if there's somebody out there that will eventually meet, or that one of us eventually meet, who is like heir to this Sharper Image fortune or something, you know? So, okay. Stretch it out. Stretch it out. So I have promised my friend Becca that I would bring up baby dinosaurs. Now, not really baby dinosaurs, but chickens. So, chickens. Which really they're really just living dinosaurs is what they are. Birds, period. If you are not an adult and haven't read anything in the last 20 years, then you would not know that that birds are the closest link to dinosaurs, even closer than reptiles. It's inherent in the way they walk. In fact, there's been new evidence, not new, but in the last few years, they have realized that dinosaurs may have been covered in feathers. All right. So because of that, we had gotten the conversation about chickens. And I brought up a story that not a lot of people know, which is the story of Mike the Headless Chicken. So Mike the Headless Chicken, which was also known as Miracle Mike, was a Wyandotte chicken that lived for 18 months after its head had been cut off. Although the story was taught by many to be a hoax, the bird's owner took him to the University of Utah in Salt Lake City to show that it was a fact. And Mike the Headless Chicken used to travel around. And I believe that's as far as I'm going to Wikipedia. But I believe, if I'm correct, Mike's owner used to take him around in like carnival sideshows. And it was like a big attraction, Mike the Headless Chicken. And I remember one of the funniest things that I learned about it, if I'm right, which was that he used to have to get like a little syringe, and that's how he fed Mike the Headless Chicken, is he used to have to stuff it into his neck, and he used to have to like feed him through the severed head that was indented. He used to have to stick it in there, and that's how he used to feed him. So that is it's a crazy story. I think they're going to make a movie about it. I believe I heard, but Mike the Headless Chicken is a completely true thing. It existed out there. And talk about like eggs, because eggs are a very odd thing. We are basically eating baby chickens. We're basically eating a chicken embryo is what we're doing. And for the longest time when I was a kid, I would not eat eggs any other way but scrambled. Now, to start off with, I would eat them over easy or sunny side up or something like that, until one day, I think an older friend of mine said, that's a baby chicken. And I said, what? It's not a baby chicken. And he was like, absolutely. It's an egg, which comes out of a chicken. And that yellow yolk is a chicken embryo. That's a little baby chick that you're eating. Look at baby chicks. What color are they? They're yellow. And it flipped me out. I went into a scrambled egg frenzy for years and years and years. In fact, I would say that I only started eating eggs in a different way maybe about 12 years ago. And I am old. Because it flipped me out that we basically eat chicken embryos. It's what we do. We basically eat dead babies. Dead chicken babies. But they are delicious. Don't get me wrong. They are good. I love eating them. And I eat them every way now. Every way. I'll eat omelets. I'll eat sunny side up, over easy, poached. Like, I'll eat eggs Benedict. Like, I love eggs, and I'll eat them. But I thought it was very funny that at one point I would only eat scrambled eggs. That is all I would eat. As kids, they say taste buds change. I think it's every 7 or 8 years. And there's not many things in my life I have not eaten or felt comfortable eating. I've never been a very picky eater. Eggs was one thing. I still ate them. I just would only eat them a certain way. But as we go through life and we realize there are different phases to the way we eat, or what we eat, or how we eat. And I remember I wasn't taught home manners. So at one point, I ate with a fork like this, like a fucking little idiot caveman, like a moron. They might as well just put a cork like on the end of the fork so I didn't fucking stab myself in the eye because I was an idiot. But that was your eating patterns are a thing that happen through your life, and it's funny how that happens. And it's also funny how like rumors of that rumors will affect the way you eat, or what people tell you that something's made of will affect the way you eat. Like a double yolk, if you get an egg that has a double yolk in it, that's good luck. Why? Why is it good luck? Because you're eating 2 baby chickens? I don't, because you get 2 surprise baby chickens? Like, if you get no yolk, it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't even mean bad luck. It just means nothing. It just means you have a bunch of egg white. That's all. Which to me seems actually kind of oddly gross. So, that's, wow. That 30 minutes of ranting went by very, very, very quickly. It really did. So, that's kind of my rant on fashion, Brookstone, and eggs. or baby dinosaurs, please look up Mike the Headless Chicken. Trust me, you will thank me about learning about Mike the Headless Chicken. It's a fascinating story. Plus, it really should be made into a movie. It's a great story. So, there was something else I was going to say. Oh, as things open up, and I don't want to get too political here, but as things open up, a really good friend of mine conveyed to me that after this whole situation, that they may have a little bit of social anxiety because they've been without that interaction for so long, and that's understandable. If I can give you any piece of advice, and I merely play a psychologist on TV. If I can give you any piece of advice, is take it at your own pace. If you don't feel like running out and hanging out with friends and they're inviting you out, don't. If you don't feel like going out in public and you're still a little worried, don't. It's okay. It's all right to be worried. It's all right to be scared. And it's all right to be afraid of conversation right now. It's going to take time for us all to put our training wheels back on. Or take our training wheels off. It's going to take a little time. And it should. It should. Do it at your own pace. Don't let anybody force you into it. Don't let anybody call you on the phone and when you say, no, I'm just going to stay in. Them go, oh, but I haven't seen you in so long. Come on, man. It's safe. It's good out here. We're all going to have a good time. Don't listen to that bullshit. Do not listen to that bullshit. You're your own person. Be your own person. Do things at your own pace. All right? Don't do things at an unhealthy pace, but do them at your own pace. This is an odd thing that we all just went through. And I'm not going to say it's an odd thing we all survived because that doesn't seem right to say. But it's an odd thing that we all went through. And if you're not entirely comfortable in rushing back into it, or you are, I don't know, maybe you are. Whichever way, if you are comfortable, don't make the people who aren't feel shitty for it. Because you know what that means? You're a fucking shitty person. Don't be a shitty person. And if you're not comfortable with it, if you're not comfortable rushing back into it, don't be shitty to these people who are deciding to do it. You don't be a shitty person either. Everybody do things at their own pace. We're individuals. None of us rely on each other socially. None of us do. We do not rely on each other socially. That absolutely makes no sense, all right? We are our own people and should be able to double dutch into the social environment the way we want to. So take your time or don't take your time. But understand that people are going to do this differently, all right? And, last thing is that if there are any local businesses you live around, please do their takeout. If you're still staying in, do their takeout, do their carryout. Don't do their Grubhub or Uber Eats. I've learned some things about that. I may talk about that next time. Maybe not. I don't know. I usually forget what I talk about by the time it hits. But I'm not doing Grubhub or Uber Eats from now on. I will call the place, I'll order it, and I'll go get it. It doesn't take that much time out of your day to do. That's what I would do. Back around to what I was saying. Do this at your own pace. And don't make people feel shitty for not doing it at your pace. All right? So, thank you, by the way. It is 4.5 minutes past class to be let out. Thank you for sticking in. Thank you for being a little late to your next class. Sorry I kept you a little bit late, but I've done it before in the past. Please, thank you. Thank you for tuning in. Subscribe. Get the alerts. Be a friend of mine. Comment. Saturday will be the live broadcast. And if you want to call in, message me first. Because if a few people decide, I'm hoping that eventually people decide to call in. And if they do, I want to make sure that nobody's calling over each other. So Saturday is a live one. Please meet me here. And thank you for joining me for brushing teeth with Robert. Thank you so much. Thank you for seeing me through this. I hope I saw you through this. I hope I did. I really do.
Un estilo diferente, musical.
Cheers.
Pinche canción.
We made it through this. Brushing teeth with Robert.
A que me ponga a cantar de los tres vicios del mal, cigarro, cerveza, tequila. Ay, compadre, no ves, me estás pisando los pies, te la debes de cortar.
Logan owes me money. Alright, so, listen, thank you very much. Hope you tune in on Saturday. Hope you keep tuning in. I'm going to keep doing this, basically because I like the sound of my own voice. And if you like the sound also, thank you for being here. Thanks for listening. Thanks for listening to me get angry about things. I appreciate every moment of it. See you later.